ready.
Dude, let's do this, David Beem. So WrestleTalk with David Beem. Boom. So today is October 10th.
The 10th.
2014. So when you see this show, it'll be within a few days, within a week or two of today. David Beem and I, this is WrestleTalk with David Beem, and here is your host, David Beem. My name's Arlen Robinson. I am the community facilitator at CCTV, and I'm the guest on this show. This is a show that came about from part of my job, helping people make studio shows. David came in and said, hey, I want to do a wrestling show. I'm interested in talking about pro wrestling. I used to film pro wrestling, and I've watched it forever, so we said, let's do a regular show and get together and talk about wrestling. So once a month, we do. We do. We get in and we talk about this stuff. We always go after the first week of the month because there's a local show that we both go see. It's the West Coast Wrestling Connection, and I missed this month. I was sick. I'm sorry, Morty Lipschitz. I'm sorry I wasn't there to the boys, but you were there, right,
Yes,
David?
I was, talking to the boys.
Tell me about the show. How was it? Was it awesome?
Every one of them got the belts back.
So everybody who had lost belts.
They lost them and got them back.
I got a program here, so I'm looking at it. I'm trying to, oh my gosh. Man, oh man. Was this a Halloween themed show?
Yeah, a Halloween one.
Was Gangrel there?
Yes, he was.
He kind of has to be there, right? He's like the Halloween, he's like a vampire guy.
Yes,
so,
he was there.
Now he was supposed to fight, what was that guy's name? Jimmy Jacobs.
Yeah, he was there.
The zombie princess. So he didn't fight him though. He fought Hotshot Danny Duggan.
Yes, for the belt, and he lost.
Oh man, so Danny Duggan
still
has
got the belt.
So
Yes, still.
Danny Duggan is still the WC.
Northwest belt.
Oh, the Northwest, man. He's the WC champion, man. What about the Grapplers Wrecking Crew?
The Grapplers lost. Nobody got any belts.
Oh, then that's Gangrel and Mike O'Shea were the tag team on that one. Oh my. Did anything happen with the Grappler himself?
The Grappler got in trouble.
Did he? What did he do?
He tried to sneak in, tried to hit somebody with the belt with that cane.
He was cheating with the cane again.
Yes.
The Grappler. Man, I remember seeing the Grappler in the 80s at the Portland Sportatorium.
He talks to me all the time when there.
Is he pretty
He's a very
good
nice guy.
He is a nice fella.
Really nice guy.
Yeah. I've never seen I have seen his face because then later on in Portland wrestling, I think in the early 90s, he came back and he didn't wear the mask for a long time. Remember that?
Yeah.
We could actually see what the Grappler looked like because in the 80s, he used to wear like the white mask and it had the Olympic rings on it. Remember that? But back when I saw him then, I guess I was probably like 12 years old, 12, 13 years old at the time. And he had this long-standing rivalry, forever, his nemesis. And he was a good guy then.
Yes.
Grappler back in the day wasn't a bad guy when I saw him. He was a good
guy
at that point in time because he was really new. And his nemesis was Rip the Crippler Oliver. And you remember Rip Oliver, right? If you know Portland wrestling, like one of the longest running bad guys in Portland wrestling, like for a long time, was Rip Oliver. And man, he ran with everybody that was bad. Man, all the Mean Mike Miller. Remember
he's still around.
Mean Mike Miller?
Yeah, he's still around.
He ran around with Rip Oliver.
Stan Stasiak.
The Stasiak, now Stan was a little earlier. He seemed to be kind of a 70s guy into the early 80s. And I got into the pro wrestling about 83. Then going into maybe getting closer to 84, we were going to shows. So this was that same time when Hulkamania took off and Macho Madness and the big time stuff from the 80s. So it was awesome seeing those local shows, though. Those guys. Really
I'm trying to get all the old-time wrestlers back to the Northwest.
Do they ever do like a?
I want.
Have you ever seen like the WWE Hall of Fame, where they do a Hall of Fame show and they actually do a thing where they honor people and put them in there? Has there ever been like a show done here that brings the classic guys back?
That's what I'm working on with Jeff Manning on it.
They don't have to wrestle anymore. No. It might be more like a meet and greet.
That's what I'm trying to do with Jeff Manning.
They talk and do Q&As and you show footage and that would be a cool gig. Like where people could just go, well, these fellas that I knew from back when are all going to be there and I can get their autograph and talk to them and hear stories. That would be an awesome thing, because that's a pretty deep roster, man. When you look at the Pacific Northwest and it's getting bigger again,
Yes.
but what it was in the 80s at that point in time, it was big. When you looked at WWE, a lot of names came through here.
Yeah.
So we were a part of that national circuit of talent where guys traveled around, and some of them came right from here and worked their way up. So I would love to see something like that.
I'm working on that.
That would be awesome, David Beem, because I got to tell you, that would be, to see those guys from, because I remember them back in their heyday, man. Those were big. That was big time being a young person and going and seeing those shows on a local TV channel, and then watching some of them go to the big time and then actually come back and be right back on.
Yeah.
On the shows. I remember Piper came back a few times, and that was huge.
That's what I'm working on. Jeff said he don't have time right now.
Yeah, gosh, it sure would be fun. I've never met Rowdy Piper.
He's nice, very nice guy.
I would love to meet that guy, because, oh man, he was big time. He still is. That guy will always be a big deal for out here. He'll always be.
He does that one in Portland.
I was trying to think earlier. So with the WC show, I don't want to take away from the WC show. So the big news was Jimmy Jacobs, the Zombie Princess. He did lose. Hot Shot Danny Duggan has the belt still. Well,
yeah.
Danny's doing pretty good for himself. And then the Wrecking Crew. So I remember who Grappler 3 is. Which guy was Hammerstone? Was that young
big
kid?
heavy-set guy.
Yeah, he was all muscled
Yeah.
up. That kid.
He says hi to me.
Oh,
He's
nice.
a nice guy.
So I'm glad Gangrel's still out there.
He's doing good.
He's a cool guy for traveling around and doing shows. He's been good about that. Let's see. There's a bunch of other, man, look at how many fights were on the card. Caleb Conley versus Big Duke.
Yep.
Was Big Duke the big country guy?
Yep, countries.
Okay, I remember him.
Lives out in the mountains.
Do you remember who won that one?
The Duke did.
Did the Big Duke win?
Yeah.
Then there was American Guns versus Cody Smith and Nick
Cody
Price.
Smith, nice. He lives in Vancouver, Washington.
Is he? Oh, he's a Washingtonian. He's just across the border. I'm from.
And he wants to
Spokane.
be on my show.
Oh man. Then it looks like did Jeremy Blanchard wrestle again?
Yeah, he did.
What's going on with him? Is he still a good guy?
He's on the bad side now again.
Oh, he's back with the bad guys?
He was on the good side, and then he changed bad again.
Well, you got to do what you got to do. It's Jeremy Blanchard, man. Now, did you ever see him back in the day when he wrestled with Bubba Blanchard as the Blanchard brothers?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of my stories. So first time I started filming wrestling was probably about 2002. And I was doing Pacific Northwest Pro Wrestling shows up in Milwaukee at the Elks Lodge on McLaughlin. And that's a cool old place. I miss the old Elks Lodge.
He still goes over there.
Really? I love that old Elks Lodge. There was a lot of nostalgia in that building. But I filmed the matches. I had a 2-camera setup where I locked down a wide shot and I ran around the ring with my camera. But the most fun and the really cool part was we started shooting promos that first night. And promos are really hard. With wrestling, there, especially like the big time 80s, that was that real skill. You saw the Portland wrestlers do it too, especially. Portland wrestlers could cut great promos. You had to go in the ring and tell a story, but you had to cut that good promo.
Yeah.
You had to have that promo where you could talk smack and say what you were gonna do, and do that. It's a real art actually. Like nowadays, the new school guys like in WWE, some of them can cut good promos, and some of them are it's not as big as it was in the old days.
Right.
In the old days, you lived and died off of that promo. All the WWE guys could cut promos. Well, the top guys could. The guys that couldn't cut promos didn't do so good over time. Like, the only wrestler I can think of from the 80s, and he's actually a late 80s, early 90s guy, that had a long career without cutting just the craziest promos was The Undertaker.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to bring in. I want to bring in WWF, a WC, a WA.
If you could get him on your show.
I'm working on it. I got Jeff said he's going to try to get some wrestlers in WWF here. So he's trying.
It would be huge if you could, but
he said he's working on it. So
they're out there, Let's see. Smiling Dave Jackson was still refereeing.
Yeah, me and him get along good.
He's Smiling Dave's really nice.
This is the guy I'll bring in.
So who's this fella I'm looking at? Least favorite. Was he on the show Survivor?
Yep, he was on there.
So do you know what that fella's name is?
I don't know who he is. I called Jeff, but I asked him to get him here. He's from Canada, so he's on.
Canadian kid. There's a lot of Canadian wrestlers still. I don't think people realize that, like, internationally, pro wrestling's not huge everywhere, but it's big in Canada. It's big here in the United States. Huge in Mexico, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the midgets here.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
working on that with Jeff to get the midgets here and to get women wrestlers here.
Well, plus the Lucha Libre, right?
Yeah, I'm
The
trying to
lucha
get all
style.
the big stars WWF used to wrestle, get them here to do a show here with us.
Now, if you're watching the show and you don't know what the Lucha Libre style is, they wear masks and it's very high flying.
Yeah.
So they fly all over the place. And the Japanese style, it's big in Japan. It's a mix of that. It's a mix of lucha, and then they call it strong style, which is kind of like our style of power wrestling and throwing guys around. They kind of mix the two up. I think it's big in Europe. Australia has wrestling.
Canada, Mexico.
Canada's big. Us in Canada and Mexico, though. You look at North America, those three countries combined.
Las Vegas, they've got wrestlers there.
And Nevada, yeah. But I'm good. The show went really good overall, then, huh?
Yes.
What was it hot in? Was it hot in there this time?
Yeah, it was hot, and you had to open the doors.
It got warm again, so yeah, it's usually cooled off by now. But we've had a hot October, so by the time we hit November, it'll start cooling off.
Yeah, Jeff said he'd like to have some people here, but he's booked right now.
Well, we'll work out what we can.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna stop us from talking about wrestling and having fun.
No, that one councilman said he wants to be on my show.
Yeah, I would love to. I don't know. They do their shows up in Portland too. Maybe I'll have to go up and check out a TV taping sometime. I haven't seen the ones where they do the TV shows for the.
Roddy Piper does that one in Portland.
It'd be cool. Have you been to them?
No, Jeff said he got tickets for me to go.
Yeah, it says getting up there, right?
Yeah,
Just
that's
getting there
the
and back
problem.
is the thing. Well, maybe we'll work it out sometime. Maybe we'll go up there and check it out and bust back down.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Jeff said we got tickets to do that.
I've got to find one where Pipes is going to be there because I got to meet Roddy Piper.
He's
dude.
nice.
I got to
very
meet.
nice.
I got to shake that guy's hands.
I'm trying to get
once in my life. I got to be able to say I met Roddy Piper, dude.
I asked Jeff if we can get Sting and Stone Cold.
Oh yeah. Well, those guys are around. Stone Cold does so good. Did you know he has a podcast that he does?
Yeah, he does that.
He's got this podcast he does, and he brings in different wrestlers and different celebrities. And I listened to a few of them. They're pretty darn good. He brings it.
And he said he brings.
Who would have thought it, right? He was more of a talk with his fists and not his mouth, but he's a great podcaster, man. He's an entertaining guy to listen to. So.
And I'm trying to bring in the Blues Brothers.
The Blues Brothers?
I'm trying to bring them back from Texas.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think. Who's someone I haven't seen in forever? If you could bring back someone you haven't seen in forever, who would that be? Piper is for me. I'd love to see Roddy Piper.
The best one I like to see is the best one in the Northwest is he flies up off the rope.
Oh, is it like
Superfly?
Superfly Jimmy Snuka?
Yeah, he lives in Hawaii.
Does he live in Hawaii? I don't think I never got to meet Superfly Jimmy Snuka. There was a guy wrestling in Portland Wrestling in the 80s. He was another like a Tongan Samoa guy, and I can't remember what his name was.
He lives in Portland somewhere.
He was good too. That guy was awesome.
A lot of the wrestlers live in Portland, retired.
I haven't seen or heard about Billy Jack Haynes in a long time, and I'd like to see him again. I ran into him in Portland late 90s maybe, and it was cool. I ran into him in a bar. Some friends and I got off work from Levitt's, and we went in there, and he was hanging out talking to a bouncer.
One cop is a wrestler.
Oh, really? Well, did you ever meet Billy Jack in person?
Yeah.
He was a big guy.
I used to hang around with all of them.
He was one of those really big dudes. Like he was just.
I used to go over to Sandy Barr's house.
So you knew all those guys then, because those guys were all tight
every
with
one
Sandy,
of them.
right?
We used to go over to Sandy's house.
Oh wow! So when you knew Sandy, was this during Portland wrestling in the '80s, or was this more into the '90s?
'80s.
Okay, so this was the Rip Oliver, all the guys,
good ones. Yeah.
All the guys, Playboy, Buddy Rose,
all
everybody.
of them.
He was another nice guy. I did get to meet.
I used to be a roadie, and I used to hang around with all of them.
Wow. Was that pretty good gigs?
Oh yeah, on the road all the time. Yeah.
So you were doing roadieing for Portland Wrestling back when they traveled 4 or 5 nights a week.
Went over the coast. He paid the hotel and everything for me.
They'd go to Hoquiam, and then because they'd list out where they were going. I think they came to Salem once a week, right? And then They hit Eugene. They might have went to Vancouver.
They went to Vancouver and then come back here to do it on Thursday nights.
There was always that Hoquiam show too. They do that like twice a month.
And
I guess
they'll go to Roseburg. They went to
Roseburg,
Roseburg, Grants Pass, Medford.
What kind of places would they do those shows? Were they in gyms or
Like a X-Logs.
So they always had like, places like indoor stadium things.
Yeah.
They'd do the shows. Were they as big as the Portland shows were?
No, not that much.
The Portland shows were pretty good. We usually had 400 or 500 of us at least.
Yeah.
It was a lot of people in there. I mean, when
we went over the coast with Sand. I went over the coast with Sand. That was booked.
Well, did they used to pay you for doing that?
Yeah, Sandy used to pay me and bring me home.
What did that pay?
$15, $20 a night.
It's usually not a lot. It's kind of
better nothing.
Well, they give you a little something, right?
Yeah, eat on and a snack.
Well, a lot of people might not know that, but the guys that are in this business doing it, until you make it real big and make a ton of money, there's not a lot of money in wrestling. Those guys are doing it for pride.
Yeah.
Those guys are doing it for love of what they do. So.
And the fans.
Yeah, well, for the fans, right?
Yeah.
So when you see them doing their show and they're doing their stuff,
then you can talk to them.
It's like you're talking to. It's pretty blue collar at this level, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sacrificing their time and their health and all of that. They're not getting rich doing it. It's not like their sole source of income for most of the guys you see. So, but there's a nobility to that.
Yeah.
I think that's noble. I think that shows someone's true love of something. If that's how into it they are, they're doing it for the love of what they do.
That's what what I'm doing here.
Yeah, totally. Well, it is, right? Because we're way into wrestling, so we're doing a show. I always wish to see more guys make it big, though. When you look at WWE, there's a couple other promotions, but let's face it, it's WWE, right? They seems like they kind of have their own internal thing now.
Yeah.
They have their own way of developing and picking people younger in doing their things. So the old days where there were these territories, and these guys were kind of the top guys from those territories, and then each of them got brought into the big WWE. That seems to be gone now. I mean, am I wrong?
That's wrong. Yeah, I'm trying to get it back.
Trying to get it to where, because at least if there was that again, you would see a few of the people go, and that means so much to see.
What I wanted to do is bring the old ones back.
Yeah.
Kick the ones that are not doing anything very well.
Yeah.
Get a little bit more training.
Yeah. And some of them, they just go on the indie circuit and they travel around like the old days, and they
around
go
the country
from place to place. And I think like Gangrel's a reflection of that.
He's on the road all the time.
He travels around, but he's still doing the gigs and doing stuff and giving the people great shows. I think Jimmy Jacobs, the Zombie Princess, he's another guy. He's been around.
Yeah,
he's wrestled some guys, so he's
been around
going
here.
to these areas and having those matches, and he gets developed. And when he's done a bunch here, he might go to another place and start it over again and do it. And that's how you get around. That's how they figure out who you are, and what you can do. Well, plus you learn more, right?
Yeah.
The more different people you wrestle, the more places you go, the more stuff you learn. That was kind of a 90s thing I noticed, was instead of guys coming from the territories and it being more traditional, some guys were just athletes they liked and they brought them in. When they brought in Bill Goldberg into WCW, they developed him.
Yep.
They knew who he was. They knew he played pro football. Several of the wrestlers worked out with him and knew the guy and said, let's develop this guy. WWE started doing it in the 90s too. The first person I remember them bringing in, and at the time didn't look like he was going to be a big thing. My brother hated him, and that was The Rock.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him. I'm trying to
Rocky Maivia in the early days.
I'm trying to work out and get The Rock here too. And Jeff said he would work out a deal with me on that too.
It'd be cool to get The Rock, but I mean, he's doing movies and stuff, right? He's like Stone Cold. They're doing movies and all that. So it's like their whole thing is they do these movies, and then they spend all their time promoting it. They're all over the place promoting the movie.
I met both.
And then they go to that next one, right? Then
yeah, I met the promoter for WWF.
Who's that?
That one that does WWF.
Huh? Was it a nice person?
Yeah, both of them are.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's but he was the Rock was kind of that first.
Yeah,
person.
he was
because he had just gotten out of college football. They knew who he was.
Yeah,
his father had been a wrestler. His grandfather had been a wrestler.
His father was here doing the Grand Theater.
Rocky Johnson?
Yes.
Yeah, Rocky Johnson.
He started
might have
here
been
in the Northwest.
Yeah. So so he also had that history, though. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that you knew who he was. The other person that I remember them developing that they kind of seemed to target, it was an athlete that they wanted to bring in and develop into a wrestler, and turned into such a great wrestler, was Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Remember when they brought him in? Apparently, right after he won the gold medals in the Olympics, Vince approached him early on and said,
Yeah.
"You got to do this. You'll be the first Olympic gold medalist professional wrestler. It'll be a big deal." And I think Kurt passed on it. He said, "I'm not interested." He was doing commercials and sponsorships. That dried up after a while.
Now he
wasn't
now he
making
does
money.
now he does Atlanta, Georgia wrestling stuff.
The Impact Wrestling, right?
Yes.
TNA. Yeah.
I'm
Total
trying to get
Nonstop
him to
Action.
do a show here.
He turned out to be such a great wrestler, though. Not because he is an awesome wrestler.
Yeah.
Like in real life, you would not want to grapple with the guy. The guy can really. He's an Olympic gold wrestler, dude. He can take you down and wrap you up. But he turned out to be such a good wrestler. He's able to tell that story in the ring, and now that he's older, and he's still a heck of a wrestler. But look what he's doing at that company. I don't know if you watch Impact Wrestling.
I do.
I'll watch it every now and then. 'Cause
That's on Wednesdays.
it kind of feels like old WCW. When I watch it, it's like new school WCW. I'm like, okay, that feels there. That Southern wrestling vibe is still alive. But he's one of those guys. He's bringing that next generation of guys.
I'm trying to work out the deal, have a big tournament for all the belts on the line.
Well, that would always be cool to have that big super everything on the line. It'd be cool, but
I'd
how,
like
how
to
would they work it out?
I like
right?
like to have one in Portland, one here
Yeah.
at the fairgrounds. A
Well,
big tournament
I
for
would-
all the belts on the line.
I would love like a Legends.
That's what I
a
wanted to do.
Legends thing where, you know, it doesn't even have to be in an arena. We could, if it was like in a theater or a place where there could be a Q&A panel and you could hang out with them and get your picture and do autographs and do things where you show matches and they talk about it. I think that would be cool to take these guys. You get Rip Oliver up there and he's sitting up there with Mean Mike Miller. You get Billy Jack back. And they sit up there on stage and they're sitting down and they talk about a match that happens. And you have the volume down, the match is happening, and they just talk. And they go, "Remember what was going on then? That was just before I went to WWF, and this was going on, and we were trying to do this." And it would be interesting because people would hear that and have no idea what the inside story was. We don't know what their real relationships were. They could have been friends, they could have been enemies. The guy was probably hurt and you didn't know about it. There's all these things we don't know. They're just out there telling a story and doing their job. That would be a cool project.
I am working on that.
That would be an awesome project. And I think as long as you really focused it on the Portland wrestling and the Northwest wrestlers, it's something that every time you did it every year, as time goes on and the guys we have that are around do retire, they don't get forgotten.
No.
We bring them back in again and they stay involved with it. It's that other thing that could happen once a year. And that's a good idea, David. I'd say, boom.
Well,
I got
Jeff
you on
Manning
that
said
one.
he likes my show, the promoter.
I hope Jeff does. You know, Jeff Manning, boy, I really wonder if Morty Lipschitz likes your show. He's the one that's
He
tough
really
cookie.
likes it.
Man, Morty.
And a lot of wrestlers like
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
he's really busy right now. But
Oh,
I'd like to see a couple of wrestlers come in and do a show with me.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be fun to get wrestlers in, and that's something I'll try and figure out, David. I'll try and figure out more of an outreach on our side, because we know Morty's really busy and their promotion's doing awesome, but I got to see what we can do as far as other people that want to come in and talk and do stuff. I know it would mean a lot to you, too.
And
so.
I think we can get a couple of football players come in and talk about wrestling.
Yeah, or just fans. If there's people
Fans of 'em.
interested, they'd come do it and see what it's all about anyways. It can also be an opportunity if you're watching the show. I'll put my email at the bottom now. I just have to remember it's at about 25 minutes into the show. The email that you're going to see, it says arlen@cctvsalem.org. What I'm looking for, and this is it's happening live. David and I haven't talked about it yet. I want to find a person that will take over being director of this show. Right now, when you watch the show, it's the two of us on a wide shot because it's just me and Dave.
Yeah.
We're hanging out. We're doing our thing.
We needed somebody else.
It's once a month, but I have other cameras set up. So if you watch this and you're interested in learning how to make a green screen show, how to get the wrestling in the background, it's a WrestleTalk with David Beem up here. I'll show you how to do all that, and you could actually be the director of the show. You could learn how to direct WrestleTalk with David Beem.
And I like to have some women on, talk about wrestling, kids on.
Well, there should be a female perspective.
I think
Even
we
if
should
it-
have a woman in here to watch
I want to make sure
wrestler.
we find a gal who likes wrestling, because we don't
Yes.
want to bring on a gal who doesn't like wrestling,
Yes.
because
I
that's going to
want
be a
somebody-
long show.
A
We're
lot
not
of
gonna-
some women do go wrestling.
Yeah. Well, in the audience, there's quite a few, actually.
Yes,
There's
and
quite a
I
few
think
women.
that'd be good for me to have a woman on here with me.
Well, also, they usually cheer for the young guys who
Yeah.
are all attractive, and then they get really loud when the young, attractive guys get beat up.
I
They
think
don't
we
like
could get
that.
a like assistant.
Oh, like an assistant or a co-host or something?
Yeah, co-host with me.
Well, if you're watching this show,
I'm very
and,
serious.
you're a lady who loves wrestling, and you want to co-host and be on this show with David Beem, the email's back up again, arlen@cctvsalem.org. Send me an email there, and I will contact. I'll put you in connect. I'll connect you with Dave, and we can talk about it and see. Or you could at least come in and check out a show and see what we do. It's pretty
Or watch it.
easy. Yeah, yeah. Or just email us and say you like the show, or email and say, I like the show, but I wish you had The Undertaker on, or whatever. And then I'll be like, well, fine, get us The Undertaker and we'll interview him. And I'll be nice to him because I don't want to get Tombstone pile-drivered. I'd love to meet him, by the way.
Yeah,
It'd be cool to
I'm
meet
trying to get
Undertaker.
them
Cool
all
guy.
WWF, WC, WA, WF.
All of them.
I'm going to try to get all the wrestlers come to the Northwest to be on my show. So
Let
I
me know
urge-
about that Legends show. I would love to see
I
a
like
Legends
to see
thing.
old wrestlers come here to be on my show too.
Yeah, yeah. Any legend of wrestling, or if you imagine yourself to be a legend and maybe may not be, we probably won't say no. You know, as long as we don't think you're going to run around with a steel chair swinging it wild everywhere, we'll probably let you come on the show, huh, Dave?
Yeah, and or call in.
Yeah, that's one we'll figure out is the call-in part of it. I need a crew person to.
Yeah,
crew
that's what
that,
I was thinking too.
Yeah, if I've got.
It'd be easier for you too.
If I've got people that'll crew, we can take live calls, man. Well, Dave, we're just about that went by quick.
Yeah.
We're just about out of time. Dude, I want to thank you for coming in and keeping this show going.
Yes.
Now, I know it's only once a month. I know all we do is just hang out, talk a little bit of wrestling, and chill for a little
And
bit.
the next
you
month
know?
is the Right Now Wrestling Show in Salem area. So.
Yeah, it'll be in November. Remember, it's Thanksgiving, and nothing says thanks for giving like watching a human being body slam another human being.
Yes.
That is the essence of Thanksgiving to
Right.
me. Eating turkey, mashed potatoes and gravy at my grandma and grandpa's, and watching Sergeant Slaughter beat up the Iron Sheik for Turkey Day. Actually, that is a very strong memory. That's one of my bonding things with Grandpa Toman, was watching Sergeant Slaughter beat up the Iron Sheik on
Yes.
Thanksgiving Day while eating turkey and mashed taters. That's like, for me, that's classic, like old school wrestling. Man, those were good days. So
Yes.
yeah. All right, David, thank you. You have
Thank
an awesome
you.
show. Thanks for coming in and doing it, man.
And each month I'll be here.
Yeah.
Each month.
Yeah, this is our October one. When we see you guys next, it'll be the Thanksgiving episode. We'll have to do something festive. I don't
Yes.
know. Maybe we'll wear pilgrim hats or something. I don't
Yes.
know. We'll figure something out for it. So, all right.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.
Bye.
Cool. Boom.